And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. As we continue to discuss last night's debate, we still want to know what you liked. Go to newsmaxtv.com/comments and let us know. We might read your comments just a bit later in the show. So let's get back to some of the highlights. Here is Florida Senator Marco Rubio after he was asked if he's ready to occupy the White House.
This election cannot be a resume competition. It's important to be qualified, but if this election is a resume competition, then Hillary Clinton's going to be the next president, because she's been in office and in government longer than anybody else running here tonight.
It's a pretty good answer to give, although I do have to question the accuracy of it. If you actually look at how long Hillary Clinton's held elective office, I'm not sure he's true. But one of the best highlights was when Senator Rand Paul and Governor Chris Christie got into it over NSA spying.
I want to collect more records from terrorists, but less records from innocent Americans. The Fourth Amendment was what we fought the revolution over. John Adams said it was the spark that led to our war for independence. And I'm proud of standing for the Bill of Rights, and I will continue to stand for the Bill of Rights.
And listen, Senator, you know, when you're sitting in a subcommittee just blowing hot air about this, you can say things like that. When you're responsible for protecting the lives of the American people, then what you need to do is to make sure that you use the system the way it's supposed to work.
Well, that was clearly one of the most enjoyable moments of the night. Question is, Joe, did one of them win that little debate?
I thought that Rand Paul did only because Chris Christie had to evoke 9/11, because we didn't have it in this part of the clip, but Rand Paul says, hey, why don't you go give Obama another hug? And then Chris Christie reflexively says, I remember the hugs I gave to people after 9/11. It's like, how'd you make that jump? And I just don't like when people evoke that day,
and
you Christie, know, as to put them above other people.
And Christie did it in a bit of a, I don't want to say nefarious way, but dishonest way, because he told us that he was appointed to his job as U.S. Attorney the day before. He wasn't. He actually got a call from the White House the day before to say that they were beginning the 6-week vetting period. So he wasn't actually appointed the U.S. Attorney. But Heather, what did you think of that?
Listen, I think that's a lot of nitpicking against Chris Christie, and his point to me was well made in that, you know, it's easy to say these things until you get to a position where the secrets that are being hidden, because we're protecting everything, are now impacting our ability. I mean, you know, with the cyber strike this week by, we think, perhaps Russia, the China strikes most recently, this is becoming an issue that is not black or white, and I think that for myself, I tend to fall on Christie's side of it.
Carl?
I think as far as likability in the general public, Christie won that exchange, but I agree with Rand Paul. Fourth Amendment, get out of my way, get out of my phone, get out of my internet, get out of my computer. And you know what? Tragedy is the price of liberty. So if they can't decipher which ones are terrorists, I mean, how many terrorists have been stopped by all those NSA tapping and wiretaps and reading emails? Virtually none.
Well, I gotta say, I actually think if you take it in context of the entire debate, I think Christie came out ahead, but only because it was more of Rand Paul being so petulant. And he was petulant all night long. He kind of came across as a crybaby.
Like a whiny.
Yeah, I mean, I was really very surprised. I mean, he came into the debate in weak position, and I think he's probably out of it now.
Well, his entire campaign was just indicted, so he's under a lot of stress.
There is that, yes.
But that's also just debate style. You know, some people are very good at it. I expected more from Ted Cruz because he came from that background. But I think that's style.
Okay. Mike Huckabee, of course, played a major role. He was asked about transgender people serving in the military. Here's what he said.
Defense Secretary Ashton Carter recently directed the military to prepare for a moment when it is welcoming transgender persons to serve openly. As Commander-in-Chief, how would you handle that?
The military is not a social experiment. The purpose of the military is kill people and break things. It's not to transform the culture by trying out some ideas that some people think would make us a different country and more diverse.
Now, I don't know if I agree with Huckabee or not. Actually, I probably disagree with what he said there. However, he started off answering the question honestly. He then veered off and started talking about how he didn't think the military should be giving surgeries to people who were transgender, to which I'm thinking, well, that had nothing to do with the question. Carl, I know you have a strong point of view on this.
Look, if you can't figure out your gender, I don't want to fight alongside you. I definitely don't want to give you a gun. I think the transgender thing does not belong in the military. To be honest, I don't think Don't Ask, Don't Tell should have been repealed, but it's here now. I just think that this is something that he hit the nail right on the head, and most of the military firmly agrees with him on that. But you're right, he should have just stopped right after he said that because it was flawless.
Can't transgender people kill people and break things?
Yeah, but it adds another level of scrutiny. There's already such political.
What do you mean another level? What kind of scrutiny? It's a person with a gun breaking things and whatever.
So which bathroom do they use? Which barracks do they stay in?
Boy, that's really the first thing on my mind when I'm worried about fighting a successful war.
Well,
what bathroom do they use? Build a bathroom.
When we were overseas, we had women whining about not having enough space for men. So we had to build separate tents and take away from our combat missions in order to build more tents for the women. Look, combat zones.
Well, now they're already there.
Yeah, well, combat zone, you have to live. Well, now they're not because they were in Iraq. But you have to live amongst the people. And if you have to add a third gender, I'm sorry, that's.
Okay, last but not least, some say this woman was the big winner. This woman? I'm not sure I would have written it that way. Here's her response to Donald Trump leading in the polls.
Well, I don't know. I didn't get a phone call from Bill Clinton before I jumped in the race. Did any of you get a phone call from Bill Clinton? I didn't. Maybe it's because I hadn't given money to the foundation or donated to his wife's Senate campaign. Here's the thing that I would ask Donald Trump in all seriousness. He is the party's front runner right now, and good for him.
See, now here's the thing. Before last night, I would have said, that's not entirely fair. They're friends. But last night, I learned that Donald Trump had to pay Hillary Clinton to come to his wedding. Now, would any of you quickly have admitted it if you had to pay people to come to your wedding? Quick, Joe.
I didn't have to pay anybody. They begged to come. It was on the ocean.
Kind of what you would expect, right?
Yeah.
All right. Who do you think won the debate? We want to know. Go to newsmaxpolls.com and cast your vote. Coming up next, were the moderators too tough on Trump last night? I don't think so. We'll discuss that next, so be sure to stay tuned.